Okay, here are some calendula flowers. Got all bits of them in here. So I'm just going to take this clean, empty glass jar. And I'm going to pack this fairly tight with the flowers, but I'm not going to fill it all the way. I want to leave some space at the top. I want to leave some space at the top for oil. So I'm now going to pour oil in. Well, you use enough so that it covers your herbs. I'm going to keep pouring it in because I want it to cover the herbs in there, which is why less space at the top. As you can see, there's a bit, it's above the flowers, it's above the herbs. You can see there's a bit above it. So I just put the lid on. I'm going to shake it around a little bit. Shake it really well. And you can still see it's mixed up again, but everything is covered in here. Okay, so I have oil in here. This is now infusing. Actually, I can put a little bit more. Put a little bit more oil in there. Okay. And it just has to infuse. Okay, so I have the top pot of my bain-marie here, and I'm going to put herbs in it. Think about how much oil do you want to produce, and how well infused do you want it to be? In other words, how strong do you want it to be with the calendula or whatever herbs you're using? I've put in about 50 grams from one pack and a little bit from the new one, so I've got a bit over 50 grams in here. So you can kind of see how much I've got in here. I haven't filled it, but I'm going to do that. Okay, now I am going to put the oil in. So again, I'm using almond oil. Now, I could use a different oil. I could use other oils that are easily accessible today in supermarkets, easy to buy, at least in England, and in parts of the UK. In Northern Europe, you might, for example, have also used lard or butter, but I'm still using the almond oil simply because it too would have been readily accessible in the time period. And it has a really nice scent to it. It has an extra scent to it, which is why it's often used today for baths, for using in your baths, for relaxing in. It's also used for massage, put in massage oils, and in salves and things like this in modern times. So what I've done is I've put enough in so that the leaves are pretty much all covered. And I've got the leaves are pretty much all covered. I know I'm tilting it, so now they're not all covered, but you can see that they're pretty much all covered. Okay, so now it's time to heat it up. This is the heated version. So I have boiling water in the kettle. And, if you're worried that maybe the water isn't hot enough, it's not to boiling enough, you can always either put it over a wood fire stove if you're outside, or here, I can just put it over the rails. So I then put my oil with my herbs in. I'm going to let it sit for about 15 minutes before I do anything else with it. Okay, so I now have basically, hopefully an infused oil, but it's all heated up. This is still warm. I'm going to take it, and I have linen. This is just a big scrap of linen left over from the garb. I've got a nice ball underneath to catch everything in. I like using a big piece of linen so there's extras on the edge because this is warm. But I'm straining it so that I can get all of the herb, get the herb out of it. And the idea is that I want to catch as much oil as possible. So I want to get as much out of here as I can in terms of the oil. And so it's going to take a little bit of time, but you can see I've got quite a bit of oil in there as it is already. It's a bit warm, but it's not super warm, so it's not going to burn me to touch it. I'm just going to try to keep squeezing bit by bit. It's a little warm and get, again, as much as the oil as I possibly can get out. And you can probably see, just do a quick comparison, you can see the original color of the oil. This is clear plastic, the bottle, so you can see what the original is. It's really clear, and you can tell automatically that it's taken a bit of the calendula, a bit of the marigold in. It's not the orange of the flowers, but it is a really bright, I don't know, what would you call that color? Really bright yellow. We have enough right now to see how much we've got. A nice modern measuring cup here to see what I have, and I have 300 milliliters. So I've got my beeswax. This is beeswax I purchased in pellets, and you can get it in yellow or white. It's kind of up to you which one you want to use. Sometimes the white is easier to get in organic if you want that. I've already measured it here on my scales. Because I'm going for a Salve, I want 2 grams of beeswax per 10 milliliters of oil. And I have 300 milliliters of oil here, so I've got 60 grams of beeswax weighed out. So I am now going to put my measured oil, my measured and filtered oil, strained oil, back in the bain-marie with the nice warm water. And now here goes my beeswax. And this is where it's going to start melting. Here, you might need to get it a little warmer, otherwise it may take some time. Go ahead and turn some heat on. Not too high. You don't want it to go too fast. The next step when it's ready is it's now going to go into jar or jars. Okay, so we're ready to pour. I'm taking it out and I'm going to start pouring it into jars. These are recycled jars. This is just a plain glass jar, which I'm obviously going to fill. It'll start solidifying fairly soon. So you can see what it looks like now, but it will start to solidify fairly soon. So it's sat for a bit, and now you can see it's all settled. I've got several jars here. So it's all nicely settled. And so yeah, here we go. I'm going to break through it. And it's not solid, but it's not running and it's not liquid, and I can rub it on my hand. I could use it as a bit of a hand cream. I've got very dry hands. It could work that way. Or I can use it as it's meant to be. I don't have a bruise right here. Here's a little bit I could show, but I can use it as a balm. Okay, so there you go. Really easy to do. Once you get into making these balms with herbs, you can make them yourselves so much more inexpensively than you can buy them. And you are using pure herbal ingredients. You know what's going into them, and you're also doing it at a period.